कोई संतान नहीं तुमको होगा बताओ?
मोदी रोर्स भारत है मेरा परिवार।
जिसका कोई नहीं है वो भी मोदी के हैं और मोदी उनका है। मेरा भारत, मेरा परिवार।
BJP unites to bash Lalu's barb. मोदी का परिवार trends big. Is this 2024's Chai Wala moment? That's our top focus on 5 Live.
Election season has well and truly begun, viewer. You remember Chai Wala, you remember Chaukidar. Is Parivar going to be the new big phrase that Narendra Modi latches onto this election season? I'm Shiv. This is 5 Live. We're going to straight into what Lalu Prasad said and how the BJP has reacted. First, as always, the headlines. 3 days on, no arrests made in the IED blast at Bengaluru's Rameshwaram Cafe. National Investigation Agency takes over the probe. Suspected link to Bengaluru cooker blast in 2022. Supreme Court rebukes Udhayanidhi Stalin over his eradicate Sanatan Dharm remark. Says Stalin Jr. abused his rights and warns him of his role as a minister. Big setback for the Aam Aadmi Party. Top court asks AAP to vacate its party headquarters and look for an alternative spot. Says Aam Aadmi Party encroaching on land for Delhi courts. Trinamool Congress veteran Tapas Roy quits. Claims Shandesh Khali horror and scams triggered him. Roy says he might consider joining the BJP if approached. No more notes for votes. Supreme Court overturns its own 1998 ruling. Ends immunity for MPs or MLAs caught taking bribes. Prime Minister Modi hails the verdict. Move over, Manishankar Iyer. There's a new kid in town, and like you, he too has a triple barrel name. Lalu Prasad Yadav. Never ever really far away from the headlines. Lalu is back in the spotlight, this time for mocking Narendra Modi and calling him familyless, someone who doesn't have a family. To be clear, viewer, a convicted criminal with no less than 9 children out on bail for health reasons is taunting the Indian Prime Minister, saying Modi has no family. If this does not prove that India is a dictatorship, frankly, I don't know what else does. But jokes apart, just to be clear, you and I don't think having no family is a big deal, just as we don't think there's anything wrong with having 9 children. Also, it's become amply clear that in the last 2 decades, viewer, all's fair in the surround sound of election season. People say all sorts of personal things, but Lalu's taunt poking Narendra Modi as familyless isn't just badly baked politics. In my view, it's actually a monumental faux pas, self-goal that even Manishankar Iyer would be proud of. We don't know yet if the Chai Wala of 2014, who became a Chaukidar in 2019, is now the familyless of 2024. No political barbs really manage to grab attention any longer. You'll agree with me. Literally, because as I said, anything goes, anything is digested, and people are not really surprised, no matter how personal the barb. But there's something here. Lalu's taunt not only gives the BJP a very handy weapon to hit back, as we've seen already with the entire Council of Ministers and BJP Parivar adding Modi ka Parivar to their names on their social media handles, but it actually authenticates, accentuates and amplifies all that is bad with Lalu Raj, and how it is precisely Modi's lack of a family in the conventional sense that allows Narendra Modi to radiate the reputation of working for nobody other than them, the public. This is a Lalu whose family has been embroiled in corruption cases and scams for decades, with the patriarch convicted in multiple cases and barred from fighting elections. The family ticks all the boxes of a typical political dynasty, which per se I don't think is necessarily a wrong thing, but that's a subject for a different day, and I promise to revisit. The point here today is Lalu is frequently forgiven his corrupt trespasses because generations of pseudo-seculars who see him as an unbending warrior against Hindutva and communalism seem to forgive that corruption. They still hail him as that lovable yokel, making merry of his rustic humor and charm. But when Lalu taunts someone as familyless, do those cheering him have the nerve to talk about how his family must take a large part of the blame for why the beautiful ancient land of Bihar is one of India's least developed states? Do those who applaud Lalu's funny one-liners have the spine and the gumption to delve into how Bihar's Jungle Raj, which prevails even today, is thanks in large part to the very family of Lalu Prasad Yadav? The Prime Minister is familyless, it's a fact. For all his wrongs, Lalu is at the very least, however, a shrewd politician, a master of the message. So then how is it that Lalu has chosen to go down a path of such little resonance? Is he suggesting that after 2 terms as Prime Minister, the Indian public must suddenly be reminded to be annoyed that Narendra Modi doesn't have offspring and therefore doesn't have a succession line? By calling attention to this, isn't Lalu literally reminding anyone caring to listen that unlike Narendra Modi, who doesn't happen to have progeny to bequeath political and material power to, Lalu's entire life has been about enriching his family while allowing Bihar to rot and decay without an end in sight. In India, viewer, and you will of course agree with me, we always bestow great power and sentiment to the idea of family, to children and to children's children. The idea that life is not worth living if you don't have someone to leave everything to. That you can only be a real politician if you have a conventionally defined personal life. That if you don't have a family, how else are you spending all your time? If I were Modi, I'd be thanking Lalu much more than I perhaps thanked Manishankar. Thanks for listening. And now I want to play out for you the reactions that have come in to this entire fresh crossfire, where Lalu has called Modi familyless, and starting with Modi, and now the entire BJP family has hit right back. Take a look.
मोदी क्या है? मोदी कोई चीज है क्या? ये नरेंद्र मोदी आजकल परिवारवाद पर हमला कर रहे हैं। अरे भाई तुम बताओ ना कि तुमको क्यों परिवार में कोई संतान नहीं है, तुमको होगा बताओ।
देश के कोटि कोटि लोग मुझे अपना मानते हैं, अपने परिवार के सदस्य की तरह मुझे प्यार करते हैं, और इसलिए मैं कहता हूं 140 करोड़ देशवासी यही मेरा परिवार है। जिसका कोई नहीं है वो भी मोदी के हैं और मोदी उनका है। परिवारवादी पार्टियों के चेहरे अलग हो सकते हैं, लेकिन चरित्र एक ही होता है। 2 पक्की चीजें हैं उनके चरित्र में, एक झूठ, दूसरा लूट। बीआरएस ने अपनी सरकार में कालेश्वरम प्रोजेक्ट जैसे घोटाले किए। कांग्रेस की सरकार उस पर कार्रवाई करने के बजाय फाइलों को दबाकर बैठ गई। तुम भी भले हम भी भले, तुमने खाया मैं खाऊंगा। तेलंगाना के गांव गांव से आवाज आ रही है, नौजवान भी बोल रहा है, बुजुर्ग भी बोल रहे हैं, महिलाएं भी बोल रही हैं, शहर वाले भी बोल रहे हैं, किसान भी बोल रहा है, मजदूर भी बोल रहा है। अब की बार 400 पार, अब की बार।
पटना की रैली में इंडी गठबंधन के सभी नेताओं की उपस्थिति में प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के ऊपर एक बार पुनः इस स्तर का, इस निचले और छिछले स्तर का शब्द प्रयोग किया गया है श्री लालू प्रसाद यादव जी के द्वारा, जो दुखद है और कष्टकारक है। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री बनने से लेकर आज तक 10 साल में 10 घंटे की भी उन्होंने कोई मोहलत या छुट्टी नहीं ली है, और वो लोग आके आज शिक्षा देते हैं जो जब तब छुट्टी मनाने विदेश जाते थे।
लालू जी, कान खोल कर सुन लीजिए। आपके परिवार में तेजस्वी तेज प्रताप, स्टालिन के परिवार में उदयनिधि, सोनिया जी के परिवार में राहुल और प्रियंका, मुलायम जी के परिवार में अखिलेश हो सकते हैं, परंतु मोदी के परिवार में हम हैं। नरेंद्र मोदी जी के परिवार में मैं भी हूं और हमारे साथ 140 करोड़ भारतीय हैं। शोषित, वंचित, गरीब, ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी के परिवार में हैं।
And the BJP has taken up what Lalu has said and converted it into a very, very high-octane campaign on the lines of Main Bhi Chaukidar in 2019. The BJP has now launched Hum Hai Modi Ka Parivar campaign after Lalu Prasad's attack on the Prime Minister, calling him familyless or someone who doesn't have a family and children. The BJP is now going to be distributing stickers, t-shirts and other merchandise. Already social media handles of ministers and BJP leaders have been amended to include the phrase Modi Ka Parivar. Hum Hai Modi Ka Parivar is going to be the name of this campaign. So very much like Manishankar Iyer in 2014 with his Chai Wala comment, very much like Rahul Gandhi with the Chaukidar Chor Hai in 2019, Lalu Prasad appears to be the Rahul/Manishankar of 2014-2019 by calling the Prime Minister familyless and giving the BJP another opportunity to mount this kind of a campaign against the opposition. So this is what it's going to be now. Modi Ka Parivar becomes the big rebuttal and rallying cry by the BJP. We'll move on now to another big story that took place today. The Supreme Court has pulled up Udhayanidhi Stalin of the DMK for his remarks last year on Sanatana Dharma. I don't need to remind you of what he said, but I will play it out for you. While criticizing Udhayanidhi, the top court said that he has abused his rights. Here's the full story on Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's son, Udhayanidhi Stalin, what he said about Sanatana Dharma, widely seen as perhaps one of the reasons why the opposition was washed out in the heartland states last year.
சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்க கூடாது.
The Supreme Court has pulled up DMK leader and Tamil Nadu Minister Udhayanidhi Stalin over his controversial remarks on Sanatana Dharma. The top court on Monday said that he had abused his rights in making the comments against Sanatana Dharma. The court added that Udhayanidhi is a minister and not a layman and should have been aware of consequences of his statements. Udhayanidhi had moved the Supreme Court to get the multiple FIRs registered against him in several states clubbed together. Udhayanidhi, son of Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, had compared Sanatana Dharma with dengue and malaria and said that it should not just be opposed but eradicated.
சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்க கூடாது, ஒழித்து கட்ட வேண்டும்.
The BJP was quick to slam Udhayanidhi and the DMK government, accusing them of targeting Hindus.
DMK seems to be scared. Otherwise, there would have been no reason since around several months and a year when they have unnecessary, or I will say deliberately with the design, have started propagating this type of dastardly ideas like eradication of Sanatana Dharma.
With the Lok Sabha battle just months away, the BJP is leaving no chance to corner DMK and India Bloc. survey done by India Today in September last year on the political impact of Udhayanidhi's statement showed that 43% people felt that the statement will hurt the India bloc. 14% participants said that the statement by Udhayanidhi would benefit the NDA government in the polls. 50% participants also said that the statement by Tamil Nadu minister was hate speech. 56% respondents said that they were hurt by Stalin Jr.'s statement. Will the issue have an impact on the Lok Sabha elections remains to be seen. With Shrishti Ojha in New Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
The problem, of course, was that Stalin's comment wasn't a one-off thing. Stalin Jr., DMK leader, former Union Minister A. Raja had also made similar remarks about Sanatan Dharma. Take a look.
மலேரியாவுக்கும் டெங்குக்கும் சோசியல் ஸ்டிக்மா இல்லை, அது ஒரு அருவருப்பா சமூகம் பார்க்காது. எங்களை பொறுத்தவரை ஹெச்ஐவி தொழுநோயை போல ஹெச்ஐவி போல சமூக அவலம் நிறைந்த ஒரு நோயாகத்தான் நம்ம பார்க்கிறோம்.
Well, speaking about controversial politicians, the Supreme Court on Monday made a very, very important ruling. And listen carefully to this, viewer. It overruled a 1998 verdict granting immunity to lawmakers, that is MPs or MLAs, from prosecution for taking bribes to make speeches, ask questions, cast votes in the legislature or parliament. Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud said that bribery is complete when bribery is accepted. The unanimous verdict was delivered by a 7-member constitution bench led by the Chief Justice. Here's what it means and here's what the implications are for MPs and MLAs.
Corruption and bribery of members of the legislature erode the foundation of Indian parliamentary democracy. It is destructive of the aspirational and deliberative ideals of the Constitution.
A landmark Supreme Court judgment ending legal immunity for lawmakers who take bribes to vote and speak in parliament and assemblies.
The legislator is rewarded with immunity.
In a unanimous judgment, the 7-judge bench led by CJI Chandrachud said that MPs and MLAs can be prosecuted for taking bribes for vote and speeches in the House. In effect, overturning the Supreme Court's 1998 verdict by a 7-judge bench which shielded JMM MPs who were bribed by the Congress government of Narasimha Rao to win a no-trust motion. The court emphasized that parliamentary privilege does not extend to acts of bribery. The 1998 ruling had granted MPs and MLAs complete immunity in voting matters, shielding them from prosecution even in cases involving bribery. However, this latest verdict marks a departure from that stance, reinforcing the principles of accountability and integrity within the legislative process.
ये एक ऐतिहासिक फैसला है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपनी जजमेंट में स्पष्ट कहा है कि भाई लोकतंत्र में भय मुक्त वातावरण का होना जरूरी है, लेकिन अगर रिश्वतखोरी कर रहे हैं तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट शांत नहीं रह सकता। इस घटना के इस निर्देश के दूरगामी परिणाम होंगे और सांसद रिश्वत कांड, जिसमें झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा के 4 सांसदों ने पैसा लेकर नरसिम्हा राव की तत्कालीन सरकार को बचाने के लिए वोट दिया था, उस मामले का सीधा-सीधी असर झारखंड पर पड़ेगा।
These provisions of protection to members of parliament or MLA are made for the discharge of their duties and only for those things without which they cannot discharge their duties, not to give them additional benefits like, for example, receiving bribes. So I think it's a salutary, desirable, welcome judgment. It is something which sets right the law and it should have been done earlier.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the judgment with a welcoming swagatam on X. He hailed the ruling as a pivotal step towards fostering clean politics and bolstering public trust in the democratic system. With the Supreme Court order, trouble now mounts for the bribe-taker netas of JMM, including Sita Soren, JMM MLA from Jama and daughter-in-law of party chief Shibu Soren. Sita is accused in one such bribery case from 2012. Bureau Report, India Today.
And I want to bring in India Today's legal reporter Kanu Sarda live from Delhi on this big verdict from the Supreme Court. Kanu, can you simplify it for us in the context Okay, we'll go back to Kanu in just a moment. I think we've just lost that line with her. She's at court where there's a bit of a crowd, so we'll get back to her to clarify that in just a moment. But this is a very, very significant verdict by the Supreme Court, a unanimous verdict, no less, because it applies. There was absolutely no dissenting note as far as the bench was concerned. D.Y. Chandrachud saying that if you've taken a bribe, then the act of bribery is complete, and therefore the parliamentary privilege blanket that MPs and MLAs usually cite from prosecution, they will lose that if it is proven that they have accepted a bribe to ask a question, to move a motion, etc. Kanu is back with me. Kanu, just simplify this for us in the current context. What kinds of politicians would be affected by this ruling?
Well, Shiv, all kind of politicians, be it MLA, be it MP, be it MLC, all kind of politicians will be impacted from this judgment which has come from the 7 judges bench of the Supreme Court today, wherein it is clearly said that, the bribery cannot be claimed as an immunity by all these people. So very, very clearly, the top court had said that, you cannot claim immunity under Article 105 and 194 of the Indian Constitution, which had been given to them since 1998 in the P.V. Narasimha Rao judgment. So the Supreme Court today has set aside the old judgment and has, paved the way for the criminal prosecution for all these MPs and MLAs which are being blamed for taking bribes or speaking on anybody's behalf at the floor of the House or at the Parliament.
Okay, Kanu, thanks very much for making that clear for us. Very interesting to see which particular politicians, MPs, MLAs, etc. will be immediately impacted by this judgment. Remember, there are many ongoing cases as well. We'll keep a track of that. Finally, a sad story, but there's still hope. 19-year-old Indian Navy sailor Sahil Verma had gone missing from his warship out at sea just a few days ago, sparking concerns and anguish from his family that's based in Jammu. The Indian Navy has released a statement saying that they're doing everything that they possibly can to find 19-year-old Sahil, a seaman in the Indian Navy. He was posted on board a warship when he went missing. Did he jump? Where is he? Nobody knows just yet officially. India Today reached out to Sahil's family in Jammu. They are, as you can imagine, desperate for answers and pleading for his safe return. Sahil's father, in an emotional appeal, has urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to intervene and expedite the search efforts. Despite 6 days passing since Sahil's disappearance on the 27th of February, there's been no news of his condition or his whereabouts.
27 से लापता है, मॉर्निंग से।
तो आपको सूचना किसने दी कि वो लापता?
सर जी, हमारे को कमांडर ने फ़ोन करके बताया था 29 को, इनके वो अपने 37 घंटे के बाद, ठीक है, जो कि हमारे को 24 घंटे तक बताना चाहिए था उन्होंने। तो उन्होंने बोला कि साहिल मिसिंग है। 7 साढ़े 7 बजे वो था उधर,
शिप पर ही थे, वो
पर ही था, उसकी अटेंडेंस लगी है। उसके बाद 8 साढ़े 8 बजे रोलिंग होती है उनके, हमारे को पता नहीं 8 बजे होते, 8:30 बजे होते। तो उसके बाद वो बोल रहा नहीं मिला। आधे 1 घंटे में वो कहाँ चला गया, ये हमारे को क्या पता, वो तो उनके कैप्टन को पता होगा।
On the other side of this very short break right here on 5 Live, viewer, it's been over 3 days since that blast at Bengaluru's Rameshwaram Cafe, but the suspect that you saw in those CCTV images has not been arrested. There are still no leads as to who he was, what the motive was, but a disturbing parallel has just emerged as part of this investigation. I'm going to take you to the ground and tell you more on the other side.
पटना की रैली में इंडी गठबंधन के सभी नेताओं की उपस्थिति में प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के ऊपर एक बार पुनः इस स्तर का, इस निचले और छिछले स्तर का शब्द प्रयोग किया गया है श्री लालू प्रसाद यादव जी के द्वारा, जो दुखद है और कष्टकारक है। उन्होंने मोदी जी के परिवार के विषय में यह बात कही तो मैं याद दिला देना चाहता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के लिए परिवार पूरा देश है। और यह बात आज की नहीं है बहनों भाइयों, हम सब लोग अपने परिवार के साथ होली दिवाली मनाते हैं। प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद 2014 की पहली दीपावली प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहां मनाई थी? सीमा पर सैनिकों के साथ। यह उनका परिवार था। और उससे लेके आज तक जितनी दीपावली पड़ी है, किसी न किसी सीमा की चौकी पर सुरक्षा बलों के साथ दीपावली मनाई है। यह है उनका परिवार। 15 अगस्त 2023 को, अभी पिछले 15 अगस्त को लाल किले की प्राचीर से उन्होंने जो संबोधन किया, उन्होंने क्या कहा था? मेरे परिवारजनों। यह है मोदी जी का परिवार। और यह भाव सिर्फ 2014 से नहीं है। अपनी तरुणाई की अवस्था में जब उन्होंने समाज के लिए और राष्ट्र को परम वैभव तक ले जाने के संकल्प के साथ अपने परिवार को छोड़ा था, तो उसी क्षण उन्होंने यह संकल्प ले लिया था कि अब ये पूरा देश मेरा परिवार है और इसीलिए परिवार के काम में किसी को
आज आदिलाबाद की धरती तेलंगाना ही नहीं, पूरे देश के लिए कई विकास धाराओं की गवाह बन रही है। आज मैं आप सबके बीच 30 से ज्यादा विकास कार्यों के लोकार्पण और शिलान्यास, इसका मुझे आज यहां अवसर मिला है। 56,000 करोड़ 56,000 करोड़ रुपीस, उससे भी ज्यादा ये प्रोजेक्ट तेलंगाना समेत देश के अनेक राज्यों में विकास का नया अध्याय लिखेंगे। इनमें ऊर्जा से जुड़े कई बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं। पर्यावरण की रक्षा के लिए किए जा रहे कार्य है। और तेलंगाना में आधुनिक रोड नेटवर्क विकसित करने वाले हाईवेज भी है। मैं तेलंगाना के मेरे भाइयों बहनों को और साथ ही सभी देशवासियों को इन परियोजनाओं के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। साथियों,
there may be possibility of putting the name Rameshwaram. Recently, Rama temple is dedicated to the nation. Who won't tolerate such things, they may do this activity. Siddharamaya, Rama is there in your name. Shivakumar, Ishwara is there in your name. Parameshwar, Ishwara is there. Rameshwara is a hotel. They have attacked the hotel. In coming days, they may attack you people also. I don't know why you are keeping quiet. By this time, you could have arrested. You need not want so much time.
Today the issue is that even before the investigation could have started and come out with a conclusion, why was the government of Karnataka, especially the leaders of Congress party, giving a cooker blast narrative, giving a rivalry narrative? Was it not preempting the agencies? Why did you want to tie up the hands of the agencies? It is because the Congress DNA has always been to give secular sanrakshan to those who indulge in acts of terror for vote bank purposes.
It's been over 3 days now since the blast at the Rameshwaram Cafe in Bengaluru's Whitefield. What we have are many CCTV clips showing not just the explosion itself, but also a person in a cap and a mask believed to be the main suspect, except that nobody has been arrested just yet, and at least in public there don't appear to be any concrete leads. The probe is intensifying, but no arrests just yet. The country's premier probe agency for terror-related cases, the National Investigation Agency, has formally taken over the probe from Bengaluru's Central Crime Branch, who've been probing so far. Some similarities, viewer, have also been drawn to incidents that took place in Mangaluru, Shivamogga, and the Bengaluru serial blasts in the last few years. Take a look at what we know.
No headway in the Bengaluru blast probe days after the attack on a popular cafe. The country's ace anti-terror agency NIA has taken over the probe from the Bengaluru Central Crime Branch.
ಯಾರೇ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಮೂಲ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು ಅದನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು. ಯಾರು ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಯಾರು ಅವ್ರ ಹಿಂದೆ ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳಿದ್ದಾವ ಅಥವಾ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರಾ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
In the latest CCTV images accessed by India Today, the suspected bomber is seen walking into the cafe at 11:34 a.m. on March 1st. He's seen walking away 9 minutes later at 11:43 a.m. after allegedly planting the explosive. The blast had taken place soon after 12:54 p.m. The suspect, who was wearing a cap, mask and glasses, was also seen on CCTV images while getting down from a bus. Probe agencies suspect links of the cafe blast to explosions in Shivamogga, the Mangaluru cooker blast in 2022, and even the 2008 Bengaluru serial blasts. The timer, internal relay circuit, bolts and wires used in the cafe attack resemble those used in earlier blasts. Jailed accused in both Mangaluru and the Bengaluru serial blast cases have been interrogated to nab the suspect. The Bengaluru cops also took the help of AI to identify the accused. Police also seized CCTV images from shops near the targeted Rameshwaram cafe in IT hub Whitefield. Can NIA ensure the perpetrators are nabbed at the earliest? With Sagar Raj and Arvind Oja in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, politics obviously in the last 3 days has totally peaked in the most unseemly manner over the Rameshwaram Cafe blast. The BJP accusing the ruling Congress of nurturing snakes in their backyard. And this is before any headway in the investigation itself. Listen in.
Sir, Vijayendra, who heads the BJP in Karnataka, has stated that this is happening because Congress is nurturing snakes in their backyard, indirectly implying that to Muslims.
6 months back, or 7 months back, they were only in power, right? What did they do? How did the cooker blast happen? Who nurtured them? The Bengaluru cooker blast accused took training in Tirthalli, which was the Home Minister's constituency. Does Vijayendra have any sense of what he is talking? How did a terrorist take training in the backyard of the Home Minister? Who was nurturing? Who is nurturing? So what happened to that? It was during their regime that happened, right? They're interested only in politicizing the thing. So that time, why didn't Mr. Vijayendra speak up then?
I have seen the statement of the Home Minister. I have seen the statement of the Chief Minister. There is no question of any hesitation to say that the government is not acting properly. They are doing their best.
And joining me live now from Bengaluru is CN Ashwath Narayan. He's a BJP MLA from Malleshwaram, former Deputy Chief Minister, former Minister and senior leader of the party in the state. Mr. Ashwath Narayan, welcome. Thank you for your time here on India Today. My first question to you, sir, is that it has been over 3 days since the blast at the Rameshwaram Cafe in Whitefield. No arrests have taken place so far. The case has now been handed over to the National Investigation Agency. Your thoughts, sir, on the fact that there doesn't appear to have been any headway. No arrests have been made so far.
The incident really, it has hurt the people's confidence, and it has really affected the people who have been hurt in this bomb blast. I totally regret this incident, and I expressed my sympathy to those families. Since the Congress government in the state of Karnataka, it has come to the power, we have been witnessing a lot of confusion. Each minister, giving different statements, and there is no governance, there is no focus. Somehow, the entire governance has been compromised, the priorities have been misplaced. They've just been, consuming time, not been, able to govern the state and address the law and order of the state of Karnataka very effectively. They have completely failed. So probably this has given more scope for the anti-national forces to get into all kind of activities, to disturb the peace, to take the lives and hurt the people. So probably in this direction, the Home Ministry or the state Congress government has completely failed. Let me make it very, very clear. Somehow this government appears to have a very soft approach towards this anti-national forces.
But Mr. Ashwath Narayan, even before the investigation has, made any conclusions as far as motive is concerned or even the identity of the suspect, the BJP appears to have already started bashing the government from the first day itself, saying that this is because the Congress government has been, nurturing snakes in your backyard, etc. Isn't that unnecessary politics when a serious investigation is going on, sir? How do you defend that?
See, the incident, what has happened 3 days is the repercussion or the effects of what the Congress government has been doing for the past 9 months in the state of Karnataka. Even earlier, many of the terrorist groups were arrested. Even when they were arresting these terrorist groups or the people who are involved in the terror activity, the investigation was going on. And as in a people or the political parties, when we made statements, the minister, the home minister or the Congress government is to come to the defense of those people. Don't brand them even before the investigation is completed. So those kind of anti-national forces who were arrested, they wanted even to have a soft approach towards them. When a cooker bomb blast, person was arrested because prematurely it got blasted when he was carrying. Even they didn't wanted to call him a terrorist. They wanted to call him as a brother. So probably the entire approach, having a soft approach, when the police forces, can they have a clear mission, clarity? When the government itself is having such a kind of soft approach, can you expect the police department or the home department to effectively work? They expect them to be having a soft approach. You can't, investigate very freely. They will not have that kind of freedom. And the entire government is having a soft approach towards this terror group or the terror links. So somehow it's been appeasement politics. The appeasement politics or the soft approach, not having clarity, not having a strong approach, zero tolerance was not there. So
okay, you're making
zero tolerance.
You're making a very serious charge, sir. You're saying that appeasement politics and a soft approach is what has facilitated such an attack, even though we don't know just yet, what the motive or the identity of the person is. I wanted to make that very clear since it's an ongoing investigation. My third question to you, sir, is the NIA has taken over the case today at a time when certain parallels are being drawn with, the Bengaluru blast, the earlier blast that took place on Church Street in Bengaluru, as also the Shivamogga attack. What are you hearing? You've been a former minister, you are currently an MLA. What is your sense of, what this might be? I know I'm asking you to guess, but, many different theories have been put forward, from corporate rivalry, to terror, to other things. What is your sense, sir?
Trying to create all kind of theories can happen now. But let me make it very clear. This kind of blasts have not been new. It has been there for many years. Many blasts has been keep happening. It has been happening. But it is the number of incidents we are trying to reduce over the time. This kind of mindset or this kind of people with this kind of background do exist. It is not that, during our tenure nobody was existing. They were existing. But the present government, what is happening, they are trying to be, more, having a cool approach towards all these people, and leading to this, if you don't prioritize, if you don't make it very clear, this policing need to be more serious. The security concern need to be top prioritized, because Bangalore city has been very well known as a city of expats and international city, most happenings for startups or entrepreneurship, for technology, for many good reasons. We need to prioritize, because our economy is dependent on a very good law and order. If the safe city, if we miss that safety city tag, it is going to hurt the future of the entire country, or the state of Karnataka also very strongly. So keeping in this mind, the Congress government, they need to, the links, the similarity of the, cooker blast and the blast, what has happened near now Rameshwaram or the Shivamogga blast, having a common, might be there, I don't know. But it's the responsibility of the concerned investigation agency or even the police department. Whenever this kind of incident happens, the NIA takes over. Now, since the cases has been handed over to the NIA, we really appreciate the state government enabling the NIA agency to take over the investigation is a most welcome decision, and the right decision been taken by the state government. We do really appreciate. But so far, before this, prevention is better than cure. See, prevention should be, given topmost priority. Probably they need to do their homework very seriously and ensure that bias, they need not have a soft approach. They need to be very clear when it comes to the law and order, irrespective of caste, creed, religion. They need to act very strong. See, when there is one small post by any of our political workers, they go very strongly. They don't even spare any second or a minute. They just go strongly on them and, do the needful without even thinking twice whether they're right or wrong, whatever. But when it comes to the other, their appeasement politics, they don't do the same. They don't have the same justice, same fairness is not been seen. Though this is what the Congress has been doing time and again. Let me make it, we are not trying to, make all kind of, allegation against the Congress party. This is not our motive. Our motive is to get a credible, trustworthy, ensure there's a right kind of law and order exists for the people of the Karnataka. This is the responsibility of the Congress government in the state of Karnataka, which is not happening. So we call upon the government to be more responsible, to ensure that the safety, security of the people is ensured, and whatever other theories, whatever it might be, it is a responsibility of the government to answer.
Okay.
One minister comes and answers something else. The Home Minister says, don't look up to the statement of other ministers. As a Home Minister or the Chief Minister's statements only is reliable. All other minister statements are not reliable. So it's up to for them. We are not here to tell about any other theories, competitor. This competitor business has got nothing to do. Nobody does that. There's enough scope for any person to do their own business. They don't have to compete with somebody else. Probably this is more to do with the safety or the law and order. What needs to be addressed very strongly, the Congress government in the state of Karnataka, it has completely failed. Let me make it very clear.
Ashwath Narayan, thank you very much, sir, for your time here on India Today and for taking our questions. We, of course, will be keeping a very close watch on the entire investigation and continue to report on a daily basis. Just to remind all of our viewers that it's been over 3 days now since the blast took place. People have been questioned, but no arrests have taken place so far. And there are multiple clips of this individual in the cap and the mask who's become, in some ways, the face of this, because he's believed to be the man who spent 9 minutes inside the cafe on that particular day, kept his bag down, ordered Rava Idli apparently, and then left from the cafe, and then the explosion took place. I want to get a word in also from India Today, Sagai Raj, who's been tracking this very closely for the last 3 days. He was among the first journalists on site after the blast took place. What is the police telling you? What's the crime branch telling you, Sagai? The NIA takes over the case today formally, but what leads and what progress has been made so far in the probe?
If you notice that the CCP are trying their level best, they have already collected the CCTV footage in and around Rameswaram Cafe and other places in Kundanalli and Bengaluru area. They are also trying to establish any kind of phone calls which was being made in that particular place. They have collected all the CDR in the location. And apart from this, they are also getting support from the other investigating agency, including the NIA and Intel. NIA will formally take over the case, but still CCB is parallelly investigating. If you notice, Shiv, that from that particular case, it hardly takes 1.5 hours for the accused to escape from the state. It is just 1 hour from that place to Tamil Nadu as well as for Telangana. So probably he has calculated everything and he would have planted that. Remember the timing of it. He enters around 11:45 and it sets a timer at 12:56 for the blast. So he has calculated and he has left the place. So it has made tough job for the CCB as well as the police to crack this particular case. As I speak now, the CCB are still investigating on the scene.
Okay, thanks very much, Sagai. Keep tracking that story. We'll talk to you again later today. The NIA taking over the case is something that is, raises the profile of the case enormously, because now it's being basically investigated pretty much for all practical purposes as an act of terror, and we will continue to track it very, very closely in Bengaluru and beyond. Thanks very much, Sagai, for being with us. That's a wrap on 5 Live. Up next is 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita Nandagopal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his 5th big southern trip this year. Imagine that. The big south push. Telangana and Tamil Nadu will be holding a road show in Chennai very, very shortly. Akshita brings that all to you after this break.
corruption and bribery of members of the legislature erode the foundation of Indian parliamentary democracy. It is destructive of the aspirational and deliberative ideals of the Constitution.
A landmark Supreme Court judgment ending legal immunity for lawmakers who take bribes to vote and speak in parliament and assemblies.
The legislator is rewarded with immunity.
In a unanimous judgment, the 7-judge bench led by CJI Chandrachud said that MPs and MLAs can be prosecuted for taking bribes for vote and speeches in the House. In effect, overturning the Supreme Court's 1998 verdict by a 7-judge bench which shielded JMM MPs who were bribed by the Congress government of Narasimha Rao to win a no-trust motion. The court emphasised that parliamentary privilege does not extend to acts of bribery. The 1998 ruling had granted MPs and MLAs complete immunity in voting matters, shielding them from prosecution even in cases involving bribery. However, this latest verdict marks a departure from that stance, reinforcing the principles of accountability and integrity within the legislative process.